Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander with Bona Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson from the Bona Training.
How we doing, Rob?
Pretty good, Wayne. Hey, do you know
Good.
what this is?
No, I don't.
You don't know what episode this is?
I know who our special guest is.
I know that. But what a day for this special guest on this special day.
Really? Well,
Number 300.
wow. Well, no
This is
wonder
our
we,
300th episode.
holy smokes. No wonder we
That's
brought this guy on. It is a
that's that's
special
it,
day.
man. 300.
Holy
300
smokes.
episodes. We're like Gunsmoke now.
That's a lot. I mean, too bad we don't get paid on like residuals, reruns. First of all, we got to get paid on the real runs.
Yeah, and then maybe you get rerun money once you start getting paid for real
Yeah,
runs.
there
Yeah,
you go.
real runs.
Okay.
That's unbelievable. That's
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. Yeah. There's marriages that didn't last this long.
Oh my gosh. 300.
Uh,
Okay. Just wanted to get that out of the way.
Good. I appreciate that. I didn't know that. So good stuff, Rob. All right. Our special guest today, we have Josh Hansman on here from 50 Grit Flooring out of Cincinnati, Ohio area. And we've had Josh on before, and I really appreciate you making time, Josh. And maybe just for the benefit of the audience, just give us a little bit of background about yourself.
All right, name's Josh Hansman, 50 Grid Flooring. I think I've been on this show once for TikTok,
Yep.
and then I can't remember the other time I've been on it.
Seems like it was tips or something. I don't know what it was
It
about.
could have been tips.
Yeah.
Could have been something like that. It was probably back pre 100 episodes.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
it was a long time ago.
So you've now entered the 3-timer club,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
the 3-timer club, they send you a robe. You're gonna get a Bona robe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Don't get his
Yeah.
hopes up, Rob.
Yeah.
3-timer club.
Thanks. Cincinnati, Ohio, been doing floors 25 years, maybe. I'm not sure. I was thinking about that before I came on. I was in my 20s. I know that. It wasn't my first job. I'm not second generation or anything like that. So father of three.
Nice.
They're all grown up. My youngest one turns 18 next week. So
Wow. Yeah, that's hard to believe, man.
Nice.
But you look too young to be have 3 kids that are damn near all out of the house.
nobody said that.
Yeah. See?
There you go. That's
You know, yeah,
Well,
Monday. We're getting closer.
we got a lot to be able to talk to you about, but I cannot go any further until I mention this.
Yes.
We're taping this on the February 13th.
Yes.
Your daughter is coming out with a new song. Is it tomorrow or Friday?
Yes, it comes out actually 12 o'clock tonight. So everybody that's listening, it's already out.
It's already out. Okay,
Yeah,
sweet.
it's already that well.
Yeah. So
Uh,
what's her name and the name of the song?
Her name's Emma Hansman. The song is called For You. I think she planned it appropriately for Valentine's Day to be the release. It's her first song being released out into the world, I guess. It's going to be on Spotify is where it'll be available. She's been working a lot, just working hard in the studio. And I think from what I know, she has 6 songs. This is the first one though that's coming out. So it's I don't know. She's worked hard. It's a long time to get here, and it's nice to finally see it happening.
Well, it'd be nice to support another fellow floorman's daughter, and it's Emma Hansman, and
Yes.
it'll be on Spotify. And she's a singer-songwriter. She's paid her dues and worked clubs and sing small clubs, and
Yep.
and by herself and with the backup band. And so I like her
Yep.
style, man. She's really it's impressive, man, to be able to do that. So
She's been committed now to all originals. No more covers. She only wants to do original songs. So Pretty much, if you hear somewhere, it's something that she wrote and it's hers. So,
What's her genre?
um, you know, when she was playing live by herself, you could kind of country, but I've asked her about that, and she said she does not want to be categorized under a genre.
Man,
So I don't know
same.
how I don't know how you do it, but I've heard her and her band play, and when she's with her band, it does kind of it's just out there. It's a little bit of everything, and it's pretty unique. And she just wants to be free to do whatever she wants. She don't want to be classified. So if one day she wants to do metal, I guess I don't know,
Cool.
but
Well,
she
I'm
wants to be
saying,
open.
yeah, I won't pin down to a certain genre myself too, so I feel that.
Yeah.
Um,
You and Beyonce. You
yeah,
do it
yeah,
all. Yeah. Pop,
absolutely.
country. Right. Yeah.
All right, so here's what I think would be an interesting topic to talk to you about, Josh, because at one time when I first knew you, no, well, I'll tell you when I first knew you, you were working for somebody else, and actually we had the conversation. You were really happy. You were the stud. You were the lead guy. You were happy
Yes,
in that position, and you had no desire to own a business.
none.
Before that, I didn't know you at this time, but I think you worked for yourself as a small business. And then the next part of your journey in this industry is the it completely flipped on everything you told me of not wanting to own a business, and you jumped in, man, and now are have what I think is a fairly big size business in our industry. And what's the name of your company now?
It's 50 grit flooring. Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Before I knew you, I worked for another company. That's when I started doing floors. I was doing construction before that, and then got into doing flooring with a friend. And I worked for them for about 7 years, and then went out on my own as a just a sole proprietor, just one man. I had another guy that would work with me every now and then that I worked with before, and I would hire him as a sub. I think I might have had an employee here or there, but it was short lived. When I was on my own, I did that for about 5 years, and I was like, I don't want to be a business owner. I just want to work for somebody and be told what to do. And so I went to work for the guy that you've met, which is Matt. I worked for him for 10 years. And then his plan was always for me to take over the company. And my plan was to always just stay as the lead guy.
Yeah.
I was happy.
Yeah.
He came to me and he said, I'm going to retire. I want you to buy the business and we're going to make this transition in 90 days. I need your answer by this weekend. So, yeah, uh, it's all, it came very quick. 90 days to try to flip that. He was a large company because he also did tile and carpet and window blinds on top of hardwood and LVP. So I made the decision to do it. I purchased his assets, took all of his employees, took all of his contacts, his builders, and I kept him on as my salesman. So it was a pretty good deal
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get everything that I've already had and just keep going, but make it mine instead of somebody else's.
So that's a tough decision, man. I mean, because you're adamant, like, nope, I'm happy. I don't want to do that. To like, okay, I got like 48 hours to jump in and make a huge life-changing decisions. So what were the biggest obstacles you faced during the initial stages of that business? Because that's a big, big, big transition.
Well, I'm still going through it. It's trying to transition from floor guy to business owner. Um, I I would say I'm probably 50% still on the floor doing jobs. I'll get a sand job assigned to myself as a crew to go do a sand job, and it's like, you got to do it. You got to keep the work going. Um, so it's kind of hard to make that transition. The biggest thing that I thought that I think a lot of people don't realize is you're the lead guy in a company and you can just go out there and you're like, I already do it all. Not much is going to change because I'm already doing everything. Um, it's a wake up call. You're not doing everything.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're the go to guy and you're getting sent to every problem job, and you know, if something technical comes up, you're the guy that has to do it. Uh, that's half. You know, I would say that's probably half of it. And then once you become a business owner of a mid-sized to large company, you got to try to find ways to not be that guy no more. And it's really difficult when you work your entire life to be really good at your trade, only to step aside and tell the next guy that they have to do it. It's tough.
that's a tough one.
So this sounds like a pretty good sized company. How did you handle the funding on this?
Um, how do I handle the funding? Oh, so my former boss, um, he personal loan. So as he was doing sales, I would pay him back on a personal loan. So yeah, yeah, it kind of all fell together really good in my favor.
Oh, that's great.
I'm going to bet that the easiest part of your day is when you can go on the floor to a house and turn that sander on and start sanding.
Up until the phone rings, or you get a text or an email,
Yeah,
then then you have to turn off the sander, walk over to the dustless, turn it off, walk outside sometimes because there might still be an edger going or something, and then as soon as you walk back in and turn everything back on and get comfortable, it rings again.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, you've got a great reputation, man. I mean, in the industry, you've done such a fantastic job, man. I mean, and you've actually given a lot back, and we'll talk about tips and techniques and things that you've shared later on in this podcast. But so how do you manage your time and you prioritize your all your tasks that you have to do? When you delegate and delegating out is so hard when you've done it yourself and you know you're good at it and you're going to be the best guy around doing the job, but you got to delegate that now. So how do you manage your time and how do you delegate that out?
it, it's just like I keep saying what happens, and like as I say this, I just keep thinking like how lucky I was to be in this position. I mean, you talk about opportunity, it couldn't have got any better for where I am. So our deal with my former boss, who became our salesman, it was he was going to stay on for 2 years. So I want to say about a year and a half in, he had to get some stuff done to his foot and was put in a boot. Um, but his son, I've worked with for off and on for 20 years because he came in and out of the business all the time when he needed side money, or so he would work for a year or two and then, you know, go do something else, then come back. So he knew the trade good enough. We brought him on as a salesman. So he's been doing sales now for almost a year, and he took that place. And then we moved Matt, who was a salesman, to operations manager.
Operations. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
So, so Matt, the former owner, is still on for another year and a half. We're trying to get him to retire, but
Okay.
if you're comfortable and your goal is 20, 30 hours a week and it's something
Yeah.
you like doing, it's kind of hard to retire. So, um,
Well, also for you, that's a lot of knowledge
yes.
of all sides of business that for you to lean on, which is great.
So
The other thing I was thinking, not only is it a lot of knowledge, but it's a completely new industry in a couple of the things that you're doing now. Like, for instance,
well, we
window blinds.
we
What is
dropped that when I took over. When I took over, I'm like, I'm sticking to what I know, and I know hardwood. So we
Okay.
kept LVP on just because it's good return on that. But we got rid of the tile. We got rid of, I say carpet, but we'll still do carpet squares that are direct glue, and we'll do like stair runners because we still have contacts with the guys that do that stuff. Um, and then we got rid of the tile, so we're just hard surface pretty much.
Okay. So that answers that question. That's how you tackled those new industries.
Well, it keeps getting better because when we got rid of
Nice.
carpet, we brought in his side, that side of the business. We got rid of it to one of the people we used to sub to, which was CJ's Carpet. And I want to say like 6 months ago, we moved into a bigger building and we split the building with them. So we have a shared showroom, and then we each got our own warehouse and office, but we can double up on the showroom. So if we bring in somebody and we're showing them hardwood and they like, oh, I'd like to get carpet too, we're like, come on over here. And so
Awesome.
we got a
Gosh,
good referral source where we can still get carpet because we run into that a lot. So
man.
we kind of double down on that,
Well,
which is pretty nice.
you had a lot of things fall into place very nicely, but I always say that nothing happens by accident. I mean, if you haven't done the things that you've done up until then and been the kind of employee that you were and reputation, that none of this would have been possible.
Oh,
And that's one thing I tell young kids, man. You never know who's watching you. You never know that the biggest crime in the world, and I've said it before, and I don't care. I think it's so important that the worst thing that can happen to you in life is an opportunity comes by and you're not ready for it.
yeah.
And to be ready for it is you have to do the things that you're doing is work hard, have that kind of reputation and learn and network like you've done. You've done a great job with that. You surround yourself by good people. I know you've done other classes where you brought other people come in and you've shared your knowledge and I think all that's important, man. It all goes into the pie.
Well, one of the things that I really learned a lot is it's not really like you think you're really good at something like doing hardwood, but I figured out that my what I'm really good at is problem solving. And that's what hardwood is. That's what all construction is. Because you tear up a subfloor, you don't know what's under it until you get to it, and then you always have that oh no moment, and then you got to figure it out and put it back together somehow. And that's just owning a business is that on a larger scale, 24/7, like scheduling and dealing with contractors and homeowners and you know all the paperwork and everything. It's just every day it's something comes in and it's like, all right, how are we going to fix this? And
Yeah.
How's the how's your team reacting to a new coach?
so it was that was something that was kind of weird because one of we still got one guy that was with me when I worked there, and I worked with him side by side for 7 8 years. He was my apprentice. We brought him up, and then he stayed on the team when I took over, and he's been with us for 2 years now as 50 grit. So going from a coworker to a boss, um, I feel like it's been pretty much the same because like I, I don't I don't know how to describe it. It's we're still a team, and that's what we were before. If he comes to me with an idea, I take time to listen to him. Decision's mine, but I value his opinion, and I think that's where we were before because I was a lead guy before. So it's kind of it's been fun.
Have you kept most of the same people?
Yeah, yeah. Eugene is the only guy that really stayed on, and then we've gone through a few people since, and we've hired some new guys. Uh, we got some sub crews that we work with too, and we kept them on, and then we've also found some new sub crews. So it's it just keeps moving.
And so, how do you keep that culture that you make sure that everybody these are expectations and this is what there you have to make money on the job and what have you too, but there's also a level of expectations that you have to get out. And so, how do you make sure that that culture doesn't change? That now you're not out in the field all the time.
Um, I try to listen to everybody. I mean, that's one of the biggest things you can do is you listen to them, and if they got a problem with something, you try to nip it as quick as you can. And we set up core values, and one of our core values is acknowledgement. So if somebody does good, we praise them, and we praise them in front of everybody. And everybody likes to be told how good of a job they're doing, especially when you tell it in front of everybody. So we we try really hard to help our team as much as they can get Google reviews, and everybody loves that because they usually get their name mentioned when they get one, and then we brag to everybody around that they got one. And we do a lot of group things together too. Like I took my team out for every year we go out to dinner. We actually hosted a Thanksgiving dinner at our shop where we brought all of our subs and employees in and had
Nice.
Thanksgiving, a work
Wow,
Thanksgiving.
wow.
um, so we've taken teams out to the ball game before and to the Reds, and we try to do stuff to just to keep us together, you know.
So I'm trying to wrap my head around your situation here. So you were happy as hell doing the work, and and not being responsible other than your jobs, and all of a sudden this bomb gets dropped in your lap. And now your life seems to have to now you're going to overdrive because now you got to think for everybody. You know what I mean? And it's a whole new, a whole new ball game. Are the hours the same? Are you working the same hours? Are you working more hours, or you getting
Yeah.
up an hour early every day because you got to be there before everybody else? How's that working out?
So I'm logging the same hours. Like we got time tracker and I keep track of my hours, and I got about the same hours that I had before on clocking in, clocking out. But like, I got time at home when I come home and get on the computer, look at reports and review everybody's time and stuff like that I don't keep track of. And I'm tracking somewhere between 55, 60 hours a week, which is what I was doing before.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now I'm probably getting a little bit more than that. Um, but the stress level is out the roof. And it's funny
Yeah.
because I'm sitting there talking to my wife and just venting to her like all the stuff that's going on. I'm like, it's so stressful. And she's like, shut up. Like, if you didn't have any stress in your life, you would be bored to hell. And I'm like, you're kind
Yeah.
of right. So
Yeah.
the
Um,
stress
uh,
wraps me like a blanket. It's a weird
mhm.
feeling, but
Um, so I mean, in the past you're watching a movie and you're at home and watching a movie with your wife and you just watch the movie. But I know owning a business, man, you're watching the movie, but you're not really there. So I mean, I'm just putting myself in that position. I'm not really there. My mind is going all over the place and material and supply. And is this guy going to be there? Is the homeowner? Did we tell the homeowner we got to get a key for this job? And my mind would be occupied with that kind of stuff.
no,
Uh,
if I got something like that that's that bad, I write it down and then just go right back to it or leave a note in my phone and then, set a reminder to tell me in the morning and just it I'm all right when I get home. I don't think too much. I will wake up early. I do go in early now too every day because only being six months in the new warehouse, there's always stuff to do. So I get an hour every morning in the warehouse to just constant improvements. Um, but no, I'll wake up early sometimes before I always wake up before my alarm goes off. Um, like 5 minutes, no matter what time I set it for, I wake up before it goes
yeah,
off.
yeah.
And I'm usually thinking of something as soon as I wake up, like I got to do that.
Mhm.
I think
Um,
that's a sign of aging.
Is
yeah,
it?
it's going to get worse,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's me now. Hey, I got a question for you. Before when you were a one man show, probably most of your work was word of mouth. What's it like now? Can't all be that. You must have to do some heavy marketing and advertising and stuff.
So even when I was a one man show, we had 50% of my work came from the company that I took over because I subbed from that company, and it would be like we'd be a week or two out, all referrals. We had a couple contractors, and then if we had a hole in the future, we just called him up and said, "What do you got?" And he would throw us a job. So now we are still 100% referral. The company I took over really big on relations. Like we do a lot of networking groups, and we still keep it 100%. So we
What are
don't do.
some of those networking groups?
I was in BNI for a long time. Chambers of Commerce, NARI, which is a National Remodelers Association. Um, there's a couple education groups like Conduit that I like that group a lot. And the education groups are really awesome because it's just like the training. You go to a training, every guy there is somebody you want to be friends with because they're taking the time to better themselves. Same thing in business. You go to these business educations, everybody in that room is somebody that wants to be a better business person, and you go there with the intent to get education, but you leave there knowing so many good people. So it's kind of like a double win every time I go to one of them.
On the, I feel like this is an inquisition here, but I do have a lot of, we do have a lot of questions for you. So like learning the business side of it, like the margins, the gross margins, and profit and markup and all those type of things, and what to charge on jobs and that kind of stuff. How much of that has been well, I'd say probably maybe a little easier because Matt was around,
Yeah.
whatever, but it probably made the transition a little bit easier, huh?
So yeah, Matt was around, and I really drug my foot at getting into that position to start learning all that stuff, and I just kept doing what we were doing. But a big part now is Matt Garcia. Was he just on the show?
We just had Matt on before you. Yep.
So yes, so this is perfect because he's did he talk about the performance pay?
Yes, yes.
So I've been getting his stuff from him for a while now, and I'm not doing the performance pay, but I'm running his sheets so I can better see my job costing and where we're at so we can make adjustments where needed. So he's been a big help to me, but pretty much everybody that's in the flooring world, they're, if I call anybody, they're helpful. But Matt's performance pay sheets, even though I'm not doing the pay, it's helped me a lot become better at knowing my numbers.
So I love that, man. I tell you, I think it's one of the best things about you younger guys in the trade right now is that you share and communicate and help each other and stuff like that. And you both are great at that. Sharing your information and stuff like that. So and Matt's a great guy. We just had Matt on, and it's cool that you guys know each other. Because I was, if you didn't, I was going to say you guys should know each other. Both you guys do a great job of giving back to the industry.
Well, I had a feeling they might know each other because I saw one of your videos where you were doing the herringbone the way he does it with
The Garcia drop.
the
Uh-huh.
Garcia drop. Yeah.
That,
Yeah, that's that's what
that's
it
pretty
is. You tape
funny.
them all together and drop it down in panels instead of one at a
Uh-huh.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give someone that's trying to overcome the initial challenges of starting your own business? I mean, you're guy coming from, running a sander or maybe working by himself, even to scale up, the challenges maybe that you've run into and maybe advice to somebody that in the same position.
Um, Start early in procedures. It's when you get to a certain size, it's all about being efficient. And the only way you can be efficient is if you have systems in place. And if you are one guy by yourself and you think, oh, I don't need systems, it's only just me, but it's a great place to start because it's a lot easier to write a procedure for one guy than it is to write it for 10 guys. Um, and then that way, every time a guy comes on, he can learn the procedure rather than trying to teach it to everybody at one time and making adjustments. Start as soon as you can writing the procedures.
Well, I think that's a fantastic answer. It's so true. I look back to when I was young and I'd be on a job doing one thing and my brother does it a different way, another brother, then we bring other people on, then it's then it's exponentially, you're doing things differently until you get everything. And then to the point where we would even make the cords got to be wrapped a certain way when you end the job. Everything, everything's got, every cord in has
Uh,
got to be exactly the same.
yeah,
So
one left-handed person messes all that up.
well, that was the problem. I got a left-handed brother, and it was all. Then everything went out the window. Usually we're
Yeah,
fine. Usually we got along fine until it came time to stain the floor, and then the
yeah,
fight starts.
yeah.
So in your old business, did you have a showroom?
Matt had a showroom. When it was just me by myself, no, I didn't have a showroom. We mainly did just site finished work. And if somebody wanted pre-finish, we would refer them to the company that I took over.
So
So
what's it like having a showroom now?
um, it's pretty nice. Our showroom, we have a showroom and conference room together around 1,000 feet. So it's not, I say it's not huge. Um, but if we bring somebody in, it's big enough that they can walk around and we can show them stuff, but it also keeps it tight enough that it's personal. Like if we have a guest in the showroom, they feel like they're the only people allowed to be there it's because it's not huge. So it's big enough and it's still personal when we bring people in. And we only do it appointment only. So it's not open to the public.
Okay.
Um, Usually it's a contractor or designer will bring in somebody to go over selections or every now and then somebody has the samples in the vans because we're a mobile shopping unit first. So we try to take samples to people, but then once they start wanting, you know, too many samples and can't make up their mind, we're just like, just come on into the showroom and you can see everything.
What's more fulfilling to you now? A beautiful floor, or having your guys get better at the craft and grow and where they're at?
100% the guys. I
Yeah.
mean, like I would always love to win an outstanding award for a floor, but I'm at the point now. I think I would get a bigger thrill if one of my guys would win an award.
Yeah. Um, well, my next question was going to be, and maybe you answered it, but you've done some great jobs, beautiful jobs, man, and you shared a lot of that on social media. Have you got one kicking around right now that you want to get done? Seems like uh, guys always have that one floor that they want to do. If you ever get time to do, does that still resonate with you?
No, we got lucky because when we moved into the new place, we had the conference room floor and our office floor. So there was two floors that I had been wanting to do for a long time. Our conference room floor, I was sitting on that one for probably 8 years, just like I'm going to do it eventually. And then
Mhm.
that came up, and I'm like, this is perfect. Let's do it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
I don't know if I've ever seen pictures of those floors. I don't know if
oh,
I've
you
ever
have,
seen them or not.
I'm
Maybe I just
sure.
didn't know what maybe I just didn't know that was for your showroom. Because I would be surprised if I hadn't seen them. So,
Yeah, you've seen them.
hmm. Um, all right. So the other thing too is when a guy starts a new business, even though this is kind of a new business, but it's also you've been with them for a while. It's relationships with your distributors, which I think is very important. You got a great distributor in the area,
Yeah.
and how has that helped you, or is that lent any help to your business, or maybe you can talk about that as well.
Well, it falls back on Matt. Matt had such a great relationship with him. It wasn't a problem to, I'm like, Matt just called him up and said, we're doing this and he needs a line of credit. And our distributor in the area, Lanham's, they were the first person that said, yeah, we'll do it. We know him. We've been working for him for a long time. And everybody else, it took a little bit because technically we were a new company. I didn't take over that company. I started my own.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
everybody else is like, oh, you're a brand new company. We can't give you a line of credit. So you have to be established first. So
Mhm.
it took a while to get everybody else on board, but Lanham's jumped right in, and everybody there is awesome. Our Christmas dinner, we invited one of the guys from the desk at Lanham's to come to our Christmas
Wow,
dinner. That's how tight we are. So
that's pretty
um,
cool.
yeah, we love it.
Are you spotting any trends?
Trends in flooring.
Flooring trends, colors, trends? Because I know in and around New York, it seems like herringbone is just blowing up. I'm just
We
wondering if it's happening everywhere.
That's all we get every now and then is herringbone. If anybody wants to do something, and we'll try to throw some different ideas to them, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's blowing up. I'd say the big trend that it kind of came through and it might have already kind of died down was the raw wood look. And it kind of annoys me because people call it natural. Like homeowners will say, I want a natural floor. And we're like,
It's not,
here we go. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
what's natural? Natural oil, natural water,
yeah.
or raw wood look? Because all three of them are a different color.
20
So
Yeah.
years ago, that was a lot easier question 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
Hey,
Um,
I talked about tips and techniques and stuff you put on social media. You shared one recently with the power drive, and I thought was fantastic. And actually, maybe you could tell Rob that, and because you showed how much dust the actual brush around will hold.
the
I
dust skirt.
the dust skirt, yeah.
Yeah. The dust skirt it holds so much thing. And like in the video, I put the power drive on its back. I vac out the dust skirt with the vacuum, vac out all the things on it, and then I tap the skirt, and you see all these little green rocks come falling out. That brush holds so many hitchhikers. So when you change from your uh, aggressive grits up to your fine grits, And that's nice. One of the nice things about Bona paper is it's green. It's real bright. So you see all those little rocks. So you know when you see them, you got to vac them up.
I
But if
was
you tap the skirt, they all fall out. There's a bunch of them in there.
I was
Wow.
kind of blown away. It was a great visual in the video because you did a good job of vacuuming under the underside of the machine. You would think, okay, I've done my job now. But
Right,
then you just started tapping on the skirt, and then all that debris that with scratches in your floor just came right down to the floor.
right.
That was a really good lesson.
I
Uh,
can't wait to show everybody that at school and say that this was my idea. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
so you're on social media. Where can people follow you on social media?
It's all 50 grit. Everything. Facebook is 50 grit. Instagram's 50 grit. TikTok's 50 grit.
Okay, cool. That makes it easy. And how are you seeing 2025 so far
Um,
for your business?
it's good. I mean, every year, well, every year, 2 years now, like we did better the second year than year one. And, December, January got slow with sales, but middle of January, it jumped right back up and, we hit our goal for January and 10 days, the last 10 days, it was strong. And February's been coming strong too. So it's off to a good start right now. We got some good projects in the pipeline that are coming too. It seems like projects are getting bigger. Our average sale size is a lot bigger than what it was, and it keeps going up, which is
Yeah,
always a
that's
good
nice.
thing
Yeah, no kidding.
until it gets too big, but
Yeah. What's the ultimate goals with the business?
um this is a really weird thing too, because you work your whole life to build your name, right? You want everybody to know who Wayne Highlander is. You
Yeah.
want to be known, right? So I kept thinking that when I was working. That's why I started videos and stuff to promote my name. But now that I have a business, it's the opposite. I want
Yeah.
my name out. I
Yeah.
I want to build 50 grit. I want people to call and want 50 grit to come do their floors. I don't want them to call and say I want Josh to come do my floors. So it's trying to build a brand over just an individual.
Boy, that is so interesting to me because you're right though. When you see bigger companies, whatever, you never like the guy's insulated. You know what I mean? Like you get the company and not an individual. And I think at some point you almost have to do that for the health of the business. And that's
Well,
like a lot of that's like killing your ego. And
it's that's also a
yeah,
long-term goal though, because eventually I, I'm not going to be running the business anymore, and I'm going to have to either step out or have somebody else come in and run it. And I don't want my name attached to that when that
yeah,
does happen. So,
yeah. Well,
You doing
man,
anything to stay involved with the community and stuff?
do I do anything to stay involved with the community? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Um, I want to. Um, I definitely do want to do more than that, but being a new business, my first goal was to be able to be established to where I can take off time in order to do things like that. I've talked with our Bona rep, and one of the things we want to do is have a Bona training hosted at our location. Um, so, like, I want to invite other companies to it because I'm comfortable enough with other guys in my area that I think they could benefit from it, and I'm not scared to have them come through and share the space with them to do that. Um,
can you look me in on that when you go when you call the territory manager for that? Just let me know.
yeah,
And
I've
we can
already
talk
have.
we can talk off that a little
I'm
bit
told it's in the
later.
works.
Okay, good. Um, it's interesting that Rob asked that question about community involvement because Rob's idea of community involvement is calling the garbage company and complaining that they didn't pick up the garbage last Tuesday.
Hey, that come on, man. I'm into scouting. We're into sponsoring Little League and
Are
stuff.
you
There's all
really?
sorts of yeah,
Well,
we
you
do
never
all
say it.
that stuff.
I don't know you do any of that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I can't tell
Yeah.
you everything. You don't
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Do
that's
you
true.
do
True.
you coach hockey?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, not anymore. Um,
No,
now
I,
my grandsons, it's funny you said that because my grandsons are playing, and I got a call from my son last night. yesterday, and he said, and this is such a grandfather type thing too. He says, I can't leave this job. I got to get a coat of stain on it. He goes, is there any way you can take the, and his wife Katie had a big meeting at work, so he says, can you take the boys to hockey? I said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. But the funny part is his third grader is talking to me while we're on the way to hockey, and he's like, Bubba, you know how it is. Once you get so close, you have to stain the floor. You can't leave
Pretty
and
good.
go to
Yeah.
hockey. So that's why, he's asking
Uh-oh.
you to take us to hockey because
Yeah.
he can't leave. He's got to get a coat of stain on that floor. And it was just, it was a great night because talking staining floors with my third grader grandson, but also taking him to hockey. So I'm not coaching anymore, but now I'm just a big fan. That's all I do now is go to grandkid sports. It's awesome.
Right.
I'm going to ask you one more question. I think I probably know the answer to this, but a lot of people are concerned about their competition and what's my competition in the area and this, that, and the other, and they kind of, I think, focus on that a little bit too much. What's your thoughts about that?
I don't have any competition. I
Yeah,
mean, I got other companies in the area that will bid against and stuff, but at the same time, if I get the job and they don't, I'm not scared to call them up and say, "Hey, I know you did that room. What color did you use?"
yeah, yeah. Well,
um,
again, I think that's such the healthy, difference in the trade. I think maybe than it was years and years ago. When people seemed like they're hyper focused on what what the competition is doing and saw them as almost the enemy or whatever. And I don't think it needs to be that way. I mean, I always feel you take care of your business, they take care of theirs, and we're all trying to make a living here. And we should be all be able to get along.
no, I mean I've been in situations where I've had other companies call me and they're like, "We only got one power drive and it's down and it's not going to be back for a week and we got a big job." And I'm like, "I'll lend you one." And they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. What do you want?" I'm like, "Just get your job done and do a good job. I mean, I don't care.
let's
Like
bring it
we,
back.
yeah, bring it back, clean it off, knock the
Mhm.
skirt out, get all your
Yeah,
grit out there. I don't want your grit on my floor, but
yeah,
yeah, so yeah, I mean it's all healthy. It's building relationships. It's all about that. It's a good culture to be in. I love this trade for that reason.
yeah.
Everybody's good to each other.
Yeah. Well, man, you're in a good place, and I'm really happy for you because I know that first years, 2 years, man, starting in the position you are and you're starting your new business, man, that's a million things going on in your head and what have you, and then to get on top of it to where you are now, and it starts to slow down a little bit, you got a handle on it. I mean, you never do always. I mean, there's always something comes up, but you're in a good spot right now, man.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. I don't. I think it's probably harder now because I'm learning more, and the more you know, the the more you realize you don't know. So
Yeah.
when I first started, I had no idea what I was getting into, and I just kind of sat back and let Matt continue to be the boss. But I've been taking over more and more here recently, and it's you find out a lot about everything you need to know, and it gets harder.
Yeah.
It doesn't get easier.
I almost think that's by life's design. You shouldn't know everything that you're going to be faced with at the beginning because you would never take on the something so big. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be too monumental from day one, thinking of all the things you have to do. But you take steps and then what have you, and make the right moves and surround yourself with good people and work your ass off and good things happen and they have for you. So. Is there any questions that you want us to ask you that we haven't talked or a subject we haven't talked about that you want to hit on?
And you guys are great at asking questions, You haven't thrown me any stumpers. I felt like I known all
Yeah.
the answers.
Well, that's good.
Um,
Yeah.
and everything I was thinking I was wanting to talk about, you guys asked me before I could bring it up. So
Oh, good, good.
kudos
Uh,
to you two. Even Rob
uh,
had some good questions.
yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah, we
Oh, you got to be kidding me. I cannot believe that.
I I gave him $20, Rob. So we
Just
got an
just
argument
show
for
me
me.
the just show me the text that Wayne sent you to say that. That's all I need to see. That's it.
We don't have to air our dirty laundry out in front of
Yeah.
Josh. We
No, you guys are great. You guys are like brothers, man. I hear it, and it's every you guys are like a married couple, like you just said. It's yes, it's definitely been 300 episodes.
yeah, yeah, you can
I
tell.
I crack
Yeah.
up every time listening to the show. It's so good.
Well,
So
I'm all in all, I'm very, very fortunate to be able to do this with Rob, and I know it. So, all right. Well, I think we covered a lot, and I really appreciate your time. And maybe we can check in with you down the road after another few years or what have you, or maybe don't be so long between episodes. You have a wealth of knowledge, and you're one of those guests that we can go 100 different directions in. You've got a lot of knowledge, and you're a great interview, man. And so we really do appreciate it. What's your daughter's name again?
Emma Hansman, look for
Okay,
her on Spotify.
on Spotify. Okay, do Josh a favor and do us a favor, man. Give her some support from the flooring industry, and I
I
think
even know
that'd
the
be
name of the
pretty cool.
song. Wait a minute. I know the name of the song. I wrote it down. For you.
For
Yeah,
For
you.
you.
for you. Check it out. All
Yeah.
righty. Well, this has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob and Josh Hansman, and please stay tuned for another episode.